In a small fishing village along Africa's beautiful coast, there lived a kind-hearted fisherman named Queku. Each morning, he would gently kiss his sleeping children, say a hopeful prayer, and head out to sea, hoping to catch plenty of fish to support his family. Despite his efforts, the ocean didn't give him many fish, so his nets often ended up empty. One sunny morning, Queku went fishing with his oldest son. He felt both hopeful and nervous as they threw their nets into the water. When they pulled them back up, the nets were unusually heavy, raising their hopes for a big catch. But instead of fish, they found something else. Caught in the net was a creature beyond their wildest imaginings, shimmering scales and eyes that held the depth of the sea itself. It was a sea mermaid, harmless and frightened. "What is it, father?" his son asked, his eyes filled with awe. "A mermaid, my boy," Queku replied, his heart swelling with wonder. They had heard tales of mermaids, but never believed they could be real. The mermaid's body was mesmerizing, with a human-like upper half and a long, shimmering tail covered in colorful scales. It glided gracefully through the water. However, despite being skeptical about the monster, Queku was happy that he had finally caught a mermaid that would bring great fortune to him. He raced home to share the good news with his wife. "I have finally done it," he exclaimed. "I have caught a sea mermaid." His wife could not believe her ears. "You mean to say you actually caught a mermaid?" "Yes," he replied, beaming with pride. "Take it back, my husband. Please let it go," she screamed. "The great sea goddess. They are consequences, please, my husband," she continued. "Let it go." "No, I cannot," yelled Queku. As news of Queku's remarkable catch spread throughout the village, whispers of concern and superstition followed. Soon the village elders paid a visit to Queku, their faces etched with worry. "Queku," they began solemnly, "we've heard about the mermaid you've captured. It's best you heed our warning and release it back into the sea." Queku's brow furrowed with skepticism as he faced the elders. "And why should I do that?" he challenged, his voice tinged with skepticism. "How could capturing a mere creature from the sea incur the wrath of the great sea goddess?" His query hung heavy in the air as the elders exchanged a knowing glance. "The ways of the sea are mysterious, Queku," one elder began, his tone grave. "The sea goddess protects her own fiercely, and she will not tolerate interference from mortals." Despite their somber warnings, Queku waved them off with a dismissive chuckle. "You fret over old tales and superstitions, old men," he scoffed. "I've faced the sea's challenges before, and I'll face whatever comes next. You'll see." Queku carried on with his work, paying little heed to the warnings from the village elders. He diligently tended to his nets and brought in his catch from the sea. As the morning sun cast its gentle glow over the horizon, Queku stirred from his slumber, determined to check on his nets. As he made his way towards the beach, he was surprised to see a young girl sitting on the sand. Her hair was very dark, falling around her shoulders, and her face was extremely beautiful. With sorrowful eyes fixed upon the sea, she seemed lost in contemplation. "Good morning," Queku greeted cautiously. The girl turned to him, her gaze bold, yet tinged with sadness. "Hello," she replied softly, her voice carrying the gentle melody of a lark's song. "What brings you here so early?" Queku asked, curious. "I am waiting," she responded, her voice heavy with longing. "For whom are you waiting, my child?" Queku asked gently. "My mother," she replied, looking sadly at the sea. Queku felt a heaviness in his heart. Could this girl actually be the mermaid he accidentally caught? Despite looking human, he wasn't sure. "Your mother?" he asked carefully. "Yes," she confirmed. "She will come for me soon, and when she does, her wrath will know no bounds." A surge of guilt washed over Queku as he realized the implications of his actions. "I am deeply sorry," he murmured, his voice thick with remorse. Tears glistened in the girl's eyes as she fixed him with a steely gaze. "Your apologies mean nothing," she admonished. "You have taken me from my home and imprisoned me in your nets. Now, you must face the consequences." "I'm so sorry," Queku pleaded again, feeling utterly powerless and regretful, but the girl's expression remained resolute. All of a sudden, the peacefulness of the beach was broken by a really loud noise. Queku felt his heart racing as he looked and saw a huge wave coming towards them. It looked really scary against the sky. "That's her," the girl said loudly amidst all the noise, sounding pleased in a scary way. Queku felt like he couldn't breathe. The wave was incredibly powerful, more intense than anything he had ever seen. It seemed like it was coming straight for them with no mercy. Filled with fear and adrenaline, Queku turned and fled, but he soon realized with a sinking feeling that it was too late for him. The massive wave was going to destroy everything, including his village. As the wave crashed down upon them, Queku heard the girl's tiny voice cutting through the noise. "Remember, you brought this upon yourself." Suddenly, Queku awoke from his sleep to the sound of strong winds and noisy waves crashing. The sky looked dark and threatening with thick clouds, and the sea was wild, with angry waves slamming against the shore, making foam fly into the air. "Father, are you okay?" his son asked with concern, bringing Queku back from his thought. Rubbing his eyes to shake off the last of his bad dream, Queku looked at his son's worried face. "I'm okay, my boy, just had a scary dream," he said, trying to reassure him, but still feeling the heaviness of the dream lingering in his mind. The message was very clear: heed the warnings of the elders and return the monster.